Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Matt. Stick and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game exclusively on Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Morning Woodward Show, live from Feldman on our second Victory Monday of this year's playoffs for the Detroit Lions. And I am here, of course, with Sam Stick Day. No Jeff Iafrate today. Hopefully we get him in tomorrow. But if I don't have Jeff, I obviously have to go to do a show with one of the biggest Lions fans out there. And nobody was happier last night than one Sam Stick Day. How are you feeling this morning?
I was feeling great till we just Baker Mayfield the hell out of that intro. I mean, we fumbled the bag there. What the hell is going on this morning? Is it the sleet that's coming in? But no, happy to be here, Jeff Iafrate. I'm trying to get him to call in a little bit later because we gotta hear from Jeff. I mean, this is what the people want. They want to hear from Jeff in these moments. They don't want to hear from me. You heard from me last night for an hour and a half, and the week before you heard from me till 4 in the morning doing the postgame show right here on Woodward Sports. But here we are at Feldman, and it's real. I woke up today, and it's real. The Lions actually won yesterday.
Yes.
The dream is still continuing. It's indescribable and almost unbelievable what has happened to this Detroit team. And, I mean, we can point to so many factors. Every time I think about something, I was like, oh, yeah, that helped win. Oh, yeah, that helped win. Oh, yeah, that helped win. I mean, Penei Sewell pulling around from the tackle position and leading sweeps. You know, Jared Goff being clutch, throwing dots to Amon-Ra St. Brown in the end zone. Jahmyr Gibbs, game-changing speed. You know, and then you get Derek Barnes with an interception. C.D. Deuce running his mouth all week, which I know you did not love.
I did not.
But what did he do?
He got a pick.
And what? So are you cool with it?
Yes.
I mean, you can talk shit if you can back it up. I think that's the rule of the jungle. That's always been the rule of the jungle. If you're going to run your mouth, you better go out there and do business. And that's exactly what he did. He did business. I mean, there's just a ton to talk about. And on top of that, I don't even want to look forward yet because I still want to live in last night. But we got San Francisco to worry about. We got the Super Bowl on the horizon. We got Dan Campbell saying we got 2, and we got to get 2 more with a bye week in the middle. Dan Campbell's already planning for the bye week.
Hey,
Like, it's unreal what the hell's going on with the Detroit Lions.
You know, the funny thing is you say that it's unreal, and it certainly is, especially as people who have suffered as Lions fans, you a little bit longer than all of us because you're just a little bit older. But it seems like on all of the live streams that obviously you come in at about the second half every single game because you have to do the post-game show. But in this game, too, it was 10-10 at halftime. It was 17-17 at one point. But one of the calmest people in the room in all of these games, even when the Lions dropped a couple that weren't so pretty and had a lot of people panicking, one of the calmest people has always been one Sam Stick Day. Even when it was 17-17, there was just, we're going to get the ball and we're going to score. When it was 10-10, for some reason, and the Bucks were getting the ball coming out of halftime, for some reason, guys like you were just, it seemed like we're going to get the stop. Because it seems like throughout the year, and we're going to get into more of the takeaways in the next segment, but when the big play is needed, the defense gives up some yards, gives up some points, but they get the stops when they need to. When the Lions need a score, when they need to run out the clock, it seems like they always make the right play. When they need a break, like that dropped interception in the end zone, it just happens. So
that's why he's a DB and not a wide receiver.
Absolutely. There just seems to be a certain amount of calm surrounding this team, and I think we all in this room feel it to some extent.
Championship calm.
Yeah.
And you know what? When we sit next to Darren McCarty during those watch parties, he's got that championship medal. Yeah. He knows, you're going to get punched. Like, this is hard. And, I walked in at halftime yesterday, and everybody was kind of ho-hum. Like, boys, you wouldn't want it any other way, man. If I told you the Lions had a chance to go to the NFC Championship game, and they're tied at halftime at home, you're telling me they're not going to win that game? And then going into the fourth quarter, the same thing. Tie ball game, and we get the ball going into the fourth quarter? You're telling me you don't trust the Lions in that situation?
Oh, they're earning our trust every single week as time goes on. We know this is different. We've known this is different for a while, but when they win playoff games, that is the ultimate proof. And, man, I don't want to get too ahead of myself. The biggest playoff game probably in Lions football history is occurring next week. But, we're still drunk on the high from last night, as we should be.
Should be.
Yes, we got and, of course, we got JB Smoove in the house. We've got Ken G. We got a full house. And I got to give it up because Mike Bell says something in the chat, which, respect. He says, respect for CJGJ. He has earned the right to run his mouth in Honolulu blue. And I'll tell you what, I probably went a little too hard at him last week. But you know what? When you back it up, when you win, you can do all the talking. And by the way, and just for the record.
And if that's what gets you going, you got to do it.
Well, and it just felt so good to see that bitch-ass Baker Mayfield just throw another pick, get the ball thrown back in his face, throw a pick during a clutch moment, a terrible pick to Derek Barnes. That was the common enemy. Everybody thought that C.J. Gardner-Johnson was my enemy, but it's honestly Baker Mayfield. That's the thing, and this is a selfish thing, and I'm the exact opposite of Maz on that spectrum. Baker Mayfield's my least favorite NFL player of all time. I've always hated him. I've always hated his attitude. I've always thought that whole moxie thing was the most overblown thing in the history of sports. He's just a guy with little man syndrome and a chip on his shoulder, and that's okay.
I'll tell you what, though.
It's got him somewhere.
2 points yesterday, because I'm with you. I hate Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
But yesterday, 2 things made me earn respect for Baker Mayfield.
Okay.
One, I learned that he was the first walk-on to ever win a Heisman.
Yeah.
You got to respect a man that walks on and wins fucking Heisman. I mean, that's respect there. But that was a long time ago. 2, his response to what he felt for the city yesterday and what he felt playing in that arena, because bitch-ass Matthew Stafford the week before couldn't even represent the city, couldn't even acknowledge what it meant to the fans. And I'll read the direct quote from Baker Mayfield, and it's something like, okay, I can actually find a little bit of respect for this guy because he actually showed respect to us. And that's how I'll begin my relationship building with him.
All right.
But he said, it's a great atmosphere. You can tell this city has had a lot of pent-up emotion and been waiting for a long time for this. I can say it's not exactly what I went through in Cleveland when we made that playoff run because it was a COVID year. But they've earned it. Dan Campbell's done a hell of a job turning this thing around. I'm happy for Jared Goff. He has a lot of good players around him, and they play so hard. You can tell in this city they play for each other, and this was a great atmosphere. They got the best of us. That's all Matthew Stafford had to do last week. But his punk ass wanted to punk the city, and now I got to get more respect for Baker Mayfield because of something Matthew Stafford should have done.
Well, to me, obviously, that is a hell of a response from Baker Mayfield. And I don't say this very much, but that's a respect. That's a hell of a response. I didn't necessarily have too much of a problem with what Matthew Stafford said because it was a tough loss and everything. It was just emotions are raw. What? What?
It was a tough loss.
It was a tough for him. It was a tough loss.
So he can't be a man and say, hey, I'm happy for the city?
It's different.
No.
It's different. He was like the
bitch in my book. No.
All right, and you know what? That's all well and good because the common thing that Matthew Stafford and Baker Mayfield have is that they are both just lying down. They were both just obstacles in the way of the Lions winning a couple of playoff games, and that is, of course, all that matters. And like I said before, the fact that that happened against Baker Mayfield. I could not imagine doing this show if Baker Mayfield would have actually killed the Lions' dreams, but it didn't happen. And for the record, for all the people who are going to say that he made some plays, he threw for a lot of yards, he threw for some touchdowns, but one of the differences in the game, which we're going to touch on later, is that Baker Mayfield to start the game threw an interception and to end the game through an interception, and Jared Goff did not. That is one of the biggest differences in the game. So for all the good that Baker Mayfield did, I'm not going to say he undid it all with his turnovers, but that certainly, he had a chance to go down and tie the game. But on the second play of the drive, he threw a terrible pick, which was right to Derek Barnes. I don't even know what the F he was looking at, but that's all well and good because it helps the Detroit Lions. And when we come back, we're going to get into a little bit more of the on-field takeaways from what we saw. But first, I have to tell you about Lady Jane's, of course. Come to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, where I get all of my A-plus haircuts from the A-plus stylists. You can come, too, for an award-winning haircut experience. Register to win a trip of your dreams, an all-expenses paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament. That's right, no expense spared for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Since the dawn of moving people, Chevrolet has led the way. The world of transportation is changing. At Feldman Chevrolet, we are leading the charge forward. With every electric vehicle, every mile traveled, one Feldman at a time. The company that puts more Chevys on Michigan roads is now the #1 name for Chevy electric vehicles.
Coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions Show. Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
And we are back from Feldman Chevrolet live Victory Monday, Woodward Sports Network Morning Woodward Show off of our second playoff Victory Monday in as many weeks for the Detroit Lions. We hope to have many more of these over the next upcoming years and a couple of more over the next 3 weeks, if you know what I'm saying. But for now, we are going to enjoy this one. And obviously, the Lions, they didn't play a perfect game. But most playoff games are not. There's always going to be some moments where it's close. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers obviously are a worthy opponent. They made the playoffs as well. But Stick, I know that you watched the game very intensely, as we all did. What were some of the on-field takeaways that you got from watching this game?
These guys are dogs, man. I mean, that's just it. Every time you need them to make a response, they did it, and that's really it. These guys are on a mission, and you just keep seeing it repeated over and over and over, and even in post-game interviews and what Dan Campbell says in his press conferences, that these guys are just built for this moment. And, you know, like I brought it up early, Penei Sewell pulling from the tackle position, leading sweeps. That's just unbelievable that we got that guy on our team. Amon-Ra St. Brown had one drop that I said to you was very costly in the first half.
Sure.
But from then on, it's just unreal what that guy can do. And I guess one thing I was thinking about this morning on my drive in, they fought for so many first downs that they didn't have initially. Like you thought, oh, they're going to be about a yard short. Next thing you know, Amon-Ra pushes the pile. Next thing you know, and then bringing in Craig Reynolds on 4th and 1. Talk about the ultimate decoy, because I consider myself to be a decently smart football guy, right? You know, I try to think I understand the game. They run out Craig Reynolds, and I'm like, what are they doing? Now they know we're not going to run. And what do? They run. So, like, Ben Johnson tricked me. He got me. And they haven't run a ton of trick plays over the past couple weeks, but to me, that was like mental trickeration. Like, we're not going to have Jahmyr Gibbs in here. We're not going to have David Montgomery in here. We're going to throw in Craig Reynolds, so the whole defense is going to be like, who the hell? Like, even at first, I'm like, who the hell is that running back right now?
Craig
Reynolds. And then Josh Reynolds getting the first touchdown.
Yeah.
It's these role players, and that's what makes this team such a team. You know, they don't go in relying on Jahmyr Gibbs, even though Jahmyr Gibbs gonna do his thing, and we now know that against what was arguably one of the best run defenses over the past 5 weeks, at least, in the NFL. And that was part of what Dan Campbell's locker room speech was like, hey, we just knocked off another hot team. That was a hot team.
Oh, yeah.
You know, even though their records said what they were kind of like the Lions of the end of last year rolling into this, except they made the playoffs.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what I envisioned for the Lions last year if they got in. They could have made some noise at the 7 seed. They could have done it.
They could have.
But they didn't. But that's what I envisioned with the Bucks this year. They were on a roll. 15.3 points a game allowed over their past 5 games. That defense was strong, and you saw it in the first quarter. But just the resiliency of this team and how they just keep fighting, keep coming back, and you're never out of it. You're never out of it with these guys.
And that's the thing. They just seem to make all of the right plays that teams of years past, even some of the good ones, just couldn't make. It just seems like every time somebody steps up, and it's absolutely huge. And, yeah, those are obviously some great takeaways. Obviously, the offense they scored 31 points. That goes without saying. We're going to dig more deep into certain players who showed out and, like, you know, Jared Goff, Jahmyr Gibbs, Samuel Porter. I'm going to, like, we'll get to that. But to me, I want to talk about the defense because at this point, and I've been guilty at it at times with certain players, I don't want to hear any more about how the defense isn't enough. And here's why. They have a bit of it doesn't seem like it would be a formula that works, but they did it again against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yep.
Ever since week 10 of the regular season, that after the bye week, going to play the Chargers in Los Angeles. 7 times the Lions let a number 1 receiver go absolutely off. And you saw it with Mike Evans in yesterday's game. Mike Evans had 8 catches for 147 yards and a touchdown. And K. Dotton, their tight end, he had a pretty big day too. But that's the thing. What did Chris Godwin do? Absolutely nothing.
Yeah,
what did
Trey Palmer?
Yes, Trey Palmer. Absolutely nothing. And what did their running game do? And I'll admit it, their running game, they were a little bit more successful than I thought they would be, especially with Rashad White. But they only had 89 yards on 15 carries. For some reason, the Buccaneers decided to go away from it, I think, at times, even when they didn't have to. But the reality is, if you can hold any team to 89 yards rushing, you're pretty happy with it, even though it wasn't quite the performance that we're used to. But we've seen that 7 times, including in the last playoff game, including this playoff game. And in those games in which a number 1 wide receiver has gone off, nobody else really has, and they've stopped the run, the Lions. The Lions are 6-1 in those games, and the only loss was to Dallas, which we all know is there's some taint, sort of. There's some taint with that. Yeah.
That loss ended up being a good loss for this Detroit Lions team. It was the perfect storm for this Detroit Lions team. They got to experience what it felt like to kind of lose a playoff game without ever having to go in and lose a playoff game. And I thought that was a good loss, if there is such a thing, for the Lions. But to your point about the defense, they decided to start blitzing. Mm-hmm. And that's what's turned it around. Now they've gotten more sacks because, remember, they couldn't get pressure on the quarterback early in the season. So now they decide to blitz. And that leads to giving up big plays. That's just part of it. That's the risk-reward of taking another man out of coverage and blitzing him. And because of that, they give up big chunk plays to a number 1 wide receivers because you're going to end up leaving Sutton one-on-one. And Sutton is doing his damn best. And I'm not. I refuse to dog anybody on this Detroit Lions team because even if you don't like Cam Sutton, he's the starting quarterback on the team that's going to the NFC Championship for you. There's never been another guy to do that for you. And I think it was 2 weeks ago I said that. No slander for anybody on this team anymore. If you don't like Derek Barnes, that's fine. But Derek Barnes is a linebacker going to the NFC Championship for you. So whatever you think the warts are, we can address that in the offseason, but these are our guys moving forward. So even if you don't like Cam Sutton, he's the guy who got you here. So don't bitch about it too much, fellas, or we can go back to the old ways when we don't even get to the playoffs.
No, that's fair. And for the record, I got to get on the stand. I've done a lot of bitching about Cam Sutton, and he didn't have his best day because he really hasn't in a while. But like you said, this isn't the day to really slander any Detroit Lions player, and I will keep that to a minimum as the week goes on and certainly leave it to nothing today because it wasn't even just that. And you're right, the blitzing, the safety blitzes, the safeties have been a revelation when it comes to big plays like interceptions, sacks, tackles for loss. The safeties have been huge pretty much ever since the Denver game. But it wasn't just that the defense was bend but don't break. When you are bend but don't break, one of the things that you have to do is you have to create turnovers, and the Lions created 2 of them. But it wasn't just that. They got some big stops when they needed them, 3 and outs. Yep. I mean, I can go through a few of them right now. On the first drive of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, after the Lions had went 3 and out after they got the ball first, which is not something you ideally want to do. They got that pick by C.J. Gardner-Johnson. It set up a field goal. And after the Lions had taken a 10-3 lead, they forced a 3 and out. Let me see. Oh yeah, when the Bucks got the ball back coming out of halftime, they faced a 3rd and 4 from the Lions 38, and Aiden Hutchinson had that big sack to knock him out of field goal range. Yep. Yes, and with a score still tied 10-10 after the Lions failed to score, the Lions forced another 3 and out. They forced another 3 and out after the Lions had taken a 24-17 lead on that big Jahmyr Gibbs 37-yard touchdown run, and they had the game-sealing interception Derek Barnes did when the Buccaneers had a chance to drive down and tie the game. So the Lions defense, as we've always said, they're not perfect. They've struggled at times to get pressure at times, not so much anymore. They've struggled with number 1 wide receivers, but one thing that they will almost always do is they'll always stop the run, and they'll always make the timely plays when they need to, because at the end of the day, if you can create interceptions, if you can play good red zone defense, which they did against the Rams, and they created turnovers against the Buccaneers, you're going to win a lot of those games because you can't stop everybody. It's the modern NFL.
Yeah, you got to pick your poison, and what the Lions have said is, hey, we're going to be that classic bend but don't break defense. You know, their red zone percentage is pretty strong for not allowing touchdowns. Buccaneers scored pretty much every time they were in the red zone yesterday, and that was supposed to be the Buccaneers' weakness. But I don't mind it. You know, hey, here's the deal. That guy's going to get yards. We know that. Your number 1's going to go off. But nobody else is going to get fed today. Nope. And that's the important thing. It kind of, this team, I'll keep bringing it back to the 2004 Pistons, but this team, that once again reminds me of like their strategy against Shaquille O'Neal, right? Like, hey, Shaq going to get his, we're going to guard him one-on-one with Ben Wallace, but you know who else isn't doing anything? Everybody else, because we're not collapsing our defense. We're not, trying to cover anybody that we can't, and that's what the Detroit Lions are doing right now. They're playing to their strength, and they're saying, we can't get pressure with our front four consistently. We have to bring the blitz. And it worked. Those blindside blitzes, that scheme, that is, if you don't like Aaron Glenn, that's fine. But that's him and Dan Campbell figuring out, hey, in this formation, these guys are shifting right. We could come off the edge, and they're not even going to look at it. And Brian Branch had the potential to get another one of those blindside sacks, but he jumped off sides a little. Got a little too excited there. But, I mean, I can't speak highly enough about just this entire organization. Like, you're not going to hear me say a bad thing, even about Aaron Glenn, about how the defense let up that touchdown before the end of the half. It's fine. They did it, and they recovered, and that's what good teams have to do.
The big plays that you're going to give up, they're going to be, if you can, like Ife Melifonwu, for example, ever since the Denver Broncos game, Ife has been a revelation. I'll just say that. Nobody knew what we really had in him, but ever since then, he's been one of the best defensive players. Obviously, Brian Branch has been great all year, but in the last part of the season into the playoffs, I think he stepped up his game quite a bit. Kirby Joseph, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, their safeties have been absolutely amazing, even though their corners, their corners are in a tough spot. They haven't been great, but it's all well and good because at the end of the day, Mike Evans, the Lions aren't the only team that Mike Evans has torched. He's had 1,000 yards every single year he's been in the NFL for 10 years.
And CeeDee Lamb?
CeeDee Lamb. He was second in the NFL in receiving yards.
Justin
He's torched
Jefferson,
others.
pretty good wide receiver.
Probably
this week, though, is going to be a little bit different.
Yes.
That's the thing. They don't really have a true number 1. Even Debo, as talented as he is, isn't a true number 1 wide receiver.
No. That's going to be tough because the San Francisco 49ers, they probably have the best group of actually, if you include Christian McCaffrey, definitely the best group of pass catchers in the NFL. We don't know about Debo's status, but we'll see. And like I said, the Lions just seem to have a formula that works. I mean, again, Puka Nacua, when you break the all-time rookie receiving yards record, you're going to torch a lot of defenses, and the Lions were just one of those in his wake, but the Lions still won that game. So it doesn't really matter. I don't understand. Like, I get it aesthetically when you see some of the stat lines of these receivers, you're like, oh, dear God, what were we doing? But at the same time, they're wins. Almost all of them, they're wins. And you'll also see a sack by Iffy. You'll see an interception. You'll see.
The stat that matters is on the scoreboard.
Of course.
So, you know what? I'll give up 400 yards a game to the top wide receiver as long as they're winning games. And Kool-Aid brought up a great point yesterday on the postgame show. He says with this defense, they're going to give up 20 points plus or minus 3. Like, that's pretty much where they're at. You know, it's either going to be 17, 20, or 23. So as long as the offense puts up more than 23, the Detroit Lions will win that football game. And you look back on it, you know, what they let up yesterday? 23. What they let up against the Rams? 23. And he's pretty consistent in that area. So we all know that the offense has to win games for this team. This team may give up 3 touchdowns a game on defense. And that's okay because that's the way this team is built. That's why you have a quarterback like Jared Goff, who I could not wait to get into that Jared Goff conversation.
Oh, we're going to get into that next.
And the deeper we go and the more the Jared Goff haters have to eat his, you know what, easy, and all the doubters, even Spenny last night on the postgame show had to pay homage to Jared Goff because you know what? Jared Goff got you here. Jared Goff is that man. Jared Goff has been that dude. It just took everybody a little while to realize it. And it took Jared Goff a little while to realize it, too. He lost what he had when he was coming out with that number 1 draft pick out of Cal. He lost a lot of that. But Dan Campbell has rebuilt this man. Brad Holmes has rebuilt this man. And when you have great leadership that allows your primetime players to grow, allows them to take control, some ownership, leadership can affect a lot of things, and Jared Goff is a direct reflection of the leadership right now.
Hey, I know you're excited about today, and we're definitely going to get into that.
You want to have some fun, Sam?
What?
Go on Woodward Sports YouTube page, search who's better, Stafford or Goff.
All right.
And there's a debate with me, Sean Baligian, and former Lion Joik Bell. And I'm telling them how stupid they are for just throwing this guy out. He's 26 years old. He's been to a Super Bowl. He was just coming off a playoff win where he was playing with a surgically repaired thumb, and he had to come in and save Warford's ass in that game. And what did he do? He came in. That's a leader of men. And everybody just, no, Jared Goff can't do it. Jared Goff can't do it. Go back and watch that 15 minutes today and just laugh at how wrong former Lion Joik Bell is.
Oh,
calling you out, Joy.
Oh, I will definitely be going back to that. That would be interesting to see, especially. I'm sure going back to all those 2021 shows are interesting right now. But we're gonna get more.
It's awesome. That's what I love about Woodward Sports, right? Is we're on record. You can go back and see how wrong you were last week about Cam Sutton, and you have to own it. But you can also go back and see how right you were about Aiden Hutchinson.
Hey.
And they have to own it 2 years ago. And, Aiden can't, he's got short arms.
Yeah.
He's never going to do it, And you were on that bandwagon. Me and you with J.J. McCarthy. You can tell me I'm wrong about J.J. McCarthy now because all I used to say is Cade McNamara did everything J.J. McCarthy did. Got up to the playoffs and lost.
And that's
before this year, it wasn't true.
That's the great thing about sports.
Yep.
Every week, especially the playoffs, both in college football and the NFL, every week a narrative can be either broken or made, and it's absolutely unbelievable.
The easy troll appeared in the chat. Every time you mention him, he just magically appears in the chat. He says, go back and watch me telling you can win a playoff games with Goff. Okay, yeah. Oh, okay, easy.
All right. Well, we're
been clowning Goff since he got here. He's got small hands. Throws up that Whopper video every single time. But yeah, you said he could win playoff games. You can't play two sides of the coin. Either he's a bad quarterback or a good quarterback.
Well, if you think he's a bad quarterback at this point, you're probably indulging in some dispo, or you should indulge in some dispo to mellow you out a little bit, and you can experience Dispo Dispenser, a team that curates an unbelievable atmosphere. Dispo is now giving out 2 tickets plus hotel and flight accommodations to this year's big game in Vegas. Go on Dispo's Instagram page at dispo.michigan and follow directions on the pin post, or scan the QR code and it will take you there. Let's get you sports fans to Vegas. Dispo Dispensary, disposhops.com, your local cannabis plug.
Feel alive during Feldman Chevrolet's biggest New Year's sales event ever. Get the best prices on our huge selection of award-winning Chevrolets. Like this 2024 Equinox for $188 per month. Or this 2024 Silverado for $268 per month. It's the New Year sales event going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
At Planet Fitness, you can get energy without the judgment.
Hi, can you help me with this?
You don't know how to use it?
This is better.
Join now through January 19th for just 24 cents down, $10 a month. Never intimidating, always free fitness training and equipment for every workout. Join today during the Big Fitness Energy Sale for 24 cents down, $10 a month, cancel anytime. Deal extended through January 19th.
Over 50 Metro Detroit locations.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Dreaming of a new home but feeling the financial pinch? Mark White & Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's right, I said $5,000. Call Mark White & Associates today at 248-290-8242 or visit them at markwhitesales.com. Again, call Mark White today at 248-290-8242 to make your dreams come true.
I want to address Easy in the chat right now. Sorry.
No, you're good.
Because this guy's backpedaling like crazy. You can't say, Easy, that you had Goff's back this whole time. You can't. You can't. And then you can't have an argument where this guy sucks, but he can win playoff games, because both things can't be true, right? You can't get your team to the NFC Championship and suck.
Yeah, you can't suck. You can be average or below average, but you can't suck.
So, Easy, quit backpedaling in the chat right now. You're looking foolish. And Booner, do not let him get away with this. Booner, pull receipts.
Hey, well, you know what? This is probably Sam Stick Day's favorite segment on every single week of all of these shows, because he gets to you get to hype up Jared Goff because he's earned it with his play in the playoffs. So how happy are you? How vindicated do you feel with how Jared Goff has been performing, not just in this game against the Buccaneers, but how he performed going back to the game against the Los Angeles Rams? He's been very good in 2 consecutive playoff games. How does that make you feel?
It makes me feel amazing. And, it's not that I want to sit up here and be like, I told you so, like I'm right, you're wrong. It's that why the hell would you ever doubt this? That's the thing. Like, if you consider yourself a smart football fan, why would you ever doubt that Jared Goff could deliver for this team? And even if you didn't believe, why weren't you willing to give him a chance? Because like I mentioned that video, me, Sean Belegian, and Joyke Bell, they mentioned drafting Trey Lance and sitting him 2 years behind Jared Goff and letting him learn. Could you imagine that first-round draft pick if we threw that away on Trey Lance?
Ooh.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Jared Goff has given this team everything that they need, and he showed yesterday that he can make every throw possible. And he does it. He overthrew J-Mo yesterday again. I'll keep going back to that throw to Amon-Ra St. Brown. That was a 10-yard wheel route around a linebacker over his head with arc into the breadbasket. That is a tough throw to make. 0 interceptions, almost 300 yards passing, 2 touchdowns. What more could you ever ask for your quarterback? What more do you want out of your quarterback? He even scrambled for yards, and I joked, who's that, Lamar Jackson? Jared Goff is everything that a Detroit quarterback should be. He's a guy that now has been thrown away by L.A., cast away after he took him to a Super Bowl and won a playoff game the year before, and he felt discredited. He felt like nobody cared about him, and I think as Detroiters, we can all embrace this. Everybody threw away Jared Goff like everybody threw away Detroit. And now the comeback is here, and what better guy do you want leading that charge than a guy who's felt all the pain? the guy who's been through the lows and now getting to experience the highs with all of us. And when he's talking about the fans, how they're a special part of his heart, how they mean a lot to him, he said last week hearing Jared Goff is something he never thought he'd hear again, and then he hears it again this week. Because last week he could have just said, oh, that's because they want to punk Matthew Stafford, right?
Yeah.
This week was, no, man, you're our fucking guy. You're our guy. This city loves you. They love what you bring to the table. They love everything that you have brought, your grit. They see you transition from L.A. Jared Goff to now Detroit Jared Goff. He is a different animal than when he got here, and it's so impressive. And what other state would you want this next game in than California for Jared Goff? He said, I get to go home and play in front of my friends and family and show them what's up. There's no better script for our quarterback right now. He grew up loving the San Francisco 49ers. He grew up liking that. He grew up in California. He went to Cal. He's familiar with the weather. He's familiar with the territory. What better, more comfortable environment outside of Ford Field could Jared Goff get this next week?
None. I mean, when it comes to, I would say, I know we all have, I mean, not all of us, but the fear with him is outdoor stadiums and all that and inclement weather, but he's going to California. I mean, I know it rains from time to time, but it's not like the Lions are going to the frozen tundra of Philadelphia or New York or something like that. They're going to San Francisco. And honestly, I've been one of those people that at times throughout the year have been lukewarm on Jared Goff at times. And,
hey, and just like Easy, it's okay to be wrong.
And honestly, here's where I officially admit Jared Goff's our guy. If you want to extend him, extend him. I mean, obviously not like $60 million or something like that, but we're not talking about that. Jared Goff is our guy for right now. And that's what happens. Maybe I'm still high off or drunk off of the Honolulu Blue Kool-Aid, but the reality is that the Lions have won 2 playoff games. Their offense has looked about as good as it can possibly look. Not perfect, but pretty damn efficient, mistake-free. And Jared Goff, it's not like he's been carried. He's been one of the biggest reasons why the Lions have won these games. I mean, in 2 games, 74% completion percentage, 564 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks, and an 111.8 quarterback rating.
And that's not game managing.
That's not game managing. And I even look back yesterday to probably, I would say at this point, the biggest drive of his Lions career. It was right after the Lions went up 24-17 and got that stop of the Buccaneers, that 3-and-out. Remember, when Jared Goff converted that 3rd and 15 to Amon-Ra St. Brown, one of the most efficient plays in the entire NFL is Jared Goff to Amon-Ra St. Brown. And that's one of the things. It's not just about Jared Goff. It's that connection that he has with Amon-Ra. You think that when it's 3rd and 8, they're going to convert it. When it's 3rd and 15, that they're probably going to convert it. And that's exactly what they did. And, of course, later on in that drive, Jared Goff throws that beautiful ball to the corner of the end zone, that wheel route to Amon-Ra St. Brown to put them ahead. That was
so beautiful.
That was the dagger at that point. That
was 100% we were celebrating with 6 minutes left, and then, of course, they went down and scored, and our buttholes got a little bit tighter.
A little bit.
But then they stupidly go for 2. Yeah, listen, I love when analytics take over intelligence, and that's what happened with Todd Bowles yesterday. Analytics took over intelligence. You don't go for 2 there. That took so much pressure off the Lions.
Yeah.
Oh, it really did. Now I can say that because they missed it. Had they made it, sure, it would have put more pressure on them. But you still had to go down the entire field and score a touchdown.
Yeah.
And then to make it double hard on yourself, I just don't understand. I do understand because analytics will say if I go for it twice, I'll get it 50% of the time. So it's the same thing as kicking. It's not. You constantly keep the pressure on your opponent. Then you can decide to go for 2 to win the fucking game. Todd Bowles had a brain fart there, and I love it. Thank you for that. Because when I was sitting there as a fan watching that last drive, I'm like, hey, the worst thing that can happen here is overtime at home. So I'm okay with how this drive results. And then, of course, it resulted in Baker Mayfield being Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield doing what he does. And Freddie felt 313.
Freddie!
This is exactly what I was hoping would not happen after last night's win. Stop trying to victory lap, and this is directed at me, on individual players or backpedal. The Lions are 1 game away from the Super Bowl. Come on. And I hope you don't think that's what I was doing. I was wrong when I said some things about Jared Goff. I probably said some things in anger and frustration. I didn't have the perspective that maybe a Sam Stick Day had when they would have those losses like at Chicago, and I will admit that. I was 100% wrong. Jared Goff is our guy. I don't really care about the extension or the contract or anything like that. At this point, I'm willing to just let it all play out and let it happen because with how everything is currently constructed, with how well they've been playing. I'm cool with writing it out with Jared Goff. That's the thing. That's where you make your legacies, the NFL playoffs. In 2 home games, which the Lions were favored to win, but that doesn't matter. Jared Goff has done exactly what they needed to do. That was, to me, and I know that nobody needs my approval because Sam Stick Day, you've been on it all along. That was what I needed to see, and I saw, and I was wrong. Jared Goff is the man. Jared Goff made some unbelievable throws. I mean, even in the game against the Rams, when they had a chance, the 4-minute offense, they put the ball in his hands. They didn't just run it up the middle 3 times.
Exactly.
They threw that one to David Montgomery, in which he shook 97 and got a first down, and even bigger, that one to Amon-Ra on 2nd and 9. Boom, game over.
And I think that's what's important is it's not always the unbelievable throw.
Yeah.
It's the correct throw.
Yes.
Right? You know, that's where I think people get misconstrued with, oh, did you see Josh Allen chuck the ball 70 yards down the field yesterday trying to connect with Stephon Diggs, which was mighty impressive.
Steph Diggs should have caught that ball.
But he definitely should have caught that ball. But Jared Goff isn't that guy, and it's okay to not be that guy, but you know who he's making the right decisions. He's getting that ball to Amon-Ra St. Brown on that curl route to get the first down, and Dan Campbell can trust him in those situations. So it's not always about the tangibles, and this is always my argument with you, Sam. It's not always about the stats that are on paper. It's about the control in the huddle. It's about the calmness at the line. It's about checking to the right play. It's about knowing, hey, the blitz is coming off this side. That's what fucked Baker yesterday. He couldn't realize when the blindside blitz was coming to address it with his line and make the right adjustment. Jared Goff sees that coming. He knows check down right away. And those are the intangible things that guys like Easy will never understand. Leaders aren't always going to be your best guy.
Hey, and honestly, the best part is, and I get every single thing that you're saying, it's awesome that the Lions, when they have an offensive line that is able to protect Jared Goff enough so that he can get those quick passes out in time. And also, it helps, too, for somebody like me when you get all of that, which I will admit is a very, very – it's all very valid. Jared Goff has shown to be a hell of a leader. But
bottom line, pay that man his money.
Hey.
Whatever Jared Goff wants, pay him.
You know, and when
pay him.
And when you have the stats also, when you have the numbers, when you have the 3 touchdowns, no picks in 2 games, when you have the 112 quarterback rating and the 75% completion percentage, that's about as close to, and I get it, it was about as close to perfect quarterback play as you can have, given what he needed to do. I'm not saying that he was flawless or anything like that, but given what he needed to do, that was it. He was about as good as you could possibly ask.
He won the game.
Hey, he was as big of a reason as anybody, and that's all we need from our quarterback. There were a lot of people that contributed, but Jared Goff, I mean, we've talked about it throughout this entire season. When he turns the ball over, they usually lose, but sometimes not. Sometimes, like in the game at home game against the Bears, he makes up for it in the end. But when he doesn't turn the football over, their offense is almost unstoppable.
You know what I want to see tonight on the heavyweights?
What do you want to see?
I want to see Easy on his knees begging for forgiveness to Jared Goff. Like literally, get on your knees, Easy, and beg for forgiveness. Pray for forgiveness. Pray that we all forget your horrible takes all year long on Jared Goff. Spenny came to church last night on the post-game show and said Jared Goff is his guy. He repented for his sins. Are you going to do the same? Are you a big enough man, Easy, to admit you were dead wrong about Jared Goff? I mean, we'll find out tonight on the heavyweights.
Well, and
on your knees!
Well, and at this point, Stick, and you mentioned it in the beginning, and I thought that it was actually very, very poignant because I've been guilty of this as much as anybody. At this point, I don't think it's time to have the Jared Goff argument or anything like that. Even what's going on in the chat right now, it's just, can't we just be happy at this point? It seems like people want to be right more than they want to be happy, and they want to see them win. And
I just want respect where respect's due.
That's fine.
That's all. I'm not telling anybody to be happy. I'm just saying, listen, like, we're here. This guy got us here.
Yeah.
If you don't like him, who cares? He got us here. And respect. Just show some damn respect. Quit showing the whopper with the small hands.
Yeah, that's That's over at this point. Regardless of what happens in San Francisco,
Respect.
I would say that is 100% over. But we're talking about the offense, and we're talking about Jared Goff. How about the great defense? And that, of course, is Guardian Alarm. It's a new year. Let Guardian Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. Technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work, and people have been proven to care. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT. That's 1-800-STAY-OUT. Guardian Alarm, your local security
Derek
expert.
Barnes works for Guardian Alarm. That's why, Baker Mayfield, you had to stay out.
There you go.
And at home. We're there with smarter security solutions, featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions Show. Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Listen, next week is the NFC Championship game, and you know what? You need to be grilling up one of those big fat tomahawks or get yourself some New York strips. Just get yourself some of that good meat because you know what Lions eat? They eat meat, and that's you. You're a Lions fan. Go to Fairway Packing to get the best meat in the city. You go to fine dining restaurants. You go to restaurants all over the Motor City. They're the people that supply the meat, so why not go direct to the source, all right? We go straight to the plug. We don't have a middleman. We get the meat from Fairway Packing. You can too.
Welcome back to the Woodward Sports Network Morning Woodward Show. We are live from Feldman Chevrolet in Novi, the place where I myself got my last new car after my old car broke down on the way to a Michigan basketball game. But you know what? Shout out Feldman Chevrolet. We got Sam
kind of poetic for the Michigan program.
Hey, well, when it comes to basketball, that is absolutely sure. When it comes to football, on top. But when it comes to basketball, they are a dumpster fire. But I don't care about that right now. I care about the Detroit Lions. I care about doing a show with Mr. Sam Stickday, filling in for the great Jeff Iafrate. Hope to have him back tomorrow.
He shouldn't have been a riot in downtown last night.
Hey.
Jeff got locked up.
You know what? I'm not going to confirm or deny. We've got JB Smoove in the house as always, and of course Ken G. Thank you guys for doing a great job making this show possible. And one of my favorite topics, and I know everything is great.
Should I just take the next 15 minutes off while you sit here and stroke it?
I mean, no, you don't have to do that. But you know what? I'm going to wax poetic for a second.
Wax
because
it.
Here's the thing. We got to talk about Aiden Hutchinson. I know we talked about Jared Goff earlier, and you had your time, and we all had our time because he obviously played a great game and earned it. But I'm going to talk about Aiden Hutchinson because what a season, what a playoff run that he has had. When you talk about the success of this Lions team, I think going into the year, one of the biggest factors, especially when it comes to this defense, will Aiden Hutchinson take that second-year leap that other players like Nick Bosa, J.J. Watt had taken in their second year? And at times during the year, there were some feelings were kind of mixed about Aiden Hutchinson. I never wavered because I saw he was always getting to the quarterback and being disruptive, but sometimes he had a little bit of a sack embargo at some point, but that's all well and good because that has been gone. Over the last 4 games, 8 sacks. In the last 2 playoff games, 3 sacks. He leads the entire postseasons in sacks with 3, and he has 8 quarterback hits, and the rest of the Lions combined have 7. And I'm not trying to discredit all the other Lions players. I'm just saying when it comes to this pass rush, when it comes to getting pressure on the quarterback, especially at the beginning of the year, I know the safety blitzes have helped out a lot.
Oh, yeah.
When it comes to the
go ahead. Not to interrupt your diatribe, but that's that's what he needed. He needed a B counterpoint, and that's been the blitz. Go ahead.
Yeah, because he didn't really have that throughout much of the year. I know Ali McNeil had a good year from the interior, but he missed a lot of games. James Houston's missed the whole season. He never had that consistent bookend edge rusher, but once they started bringing more safety blitzes, and Ife Melifomu was in the backfield, Brian Branch was in the backfield, and we've seen that. Aiden Hutchinson has really taken off. I mean, last season, 9.5, this season, 11.5 sacks. When it comes to tackles for loss, last season, 9, this season 14. Quarterback hits last season 15, this season 33. And oh, by the way, Aiden Hutchinson, as I always say, according to Pro Football Reference, led the entire NFL in pressures, hurries, and was tied for the lead in quarterback knockdowns with Nick Bosa. Aiden Hutchinson, what happens when you show out in the playoffs? Aiden Hutchinson's a superstar right now. I'm officially ready to mark that down. Aiden Hutchinson is in that tier 1 of elite players. I know that sounds a little bit extreme, but when you show out in the playoffs, it's all well and good. And oh, by the way,
how many are in your tier?
7.
Okay.
I've got 7.
Okay. No, that's fine to have it. Okay.
I've got 7.
Okay.
And right now, here, I'll give you a couple examples right now. And this is, I'm not trying to put these other players down. These are great players. But Micah Parsons in his one playoff game this year, no sacks, very little impact. The Cowboys defense got shredded.
So glad we got Sewell over that guy.
Hey, Micah Parsons is still a damn good player, but you know,
Sewell's better.
That's fair. As of right now, that's fair. Myles Garrett, another one. I'm not saying it was his fault. I mean, it hurts when Joe Flacco gives your team 14 free points, but 0 sacks, not really much of an impact in the Browns defense. Got shredded.
Has Aiden Hutchinson snatched off someone's helmet and beat him with it?
No. But even,
win Myles Garrett.
I know, right? Win Myles Garrett for that one. And you even want to go to Nick Bosa. I'm not saying he played a bad game because, trust me, I am the leader. I am on the mountaintop of the it's okay, you can have a great game and not get any sacks. But Nick Bosa, no sacks. He was good, and he also has a lot more help on the defensive line than Aiden Hutchinson, but no sacks. But the San Francisco 49ers won. We'll get to see them on the same field in the next game. But Aiden Hutchinson, if there was a postseason defensive player of the year, it would be him right now. Maybe you want to argue Dre Greenlaw for his 2 picks, but as far as I'm concerned, he has been the best player in this entire postseason, at least defensively, and they've needed him. You saw how disruptive he was against the Rams. You saw him get a huge sack to push the Buccaneers out of field goal range in the last playoff game, and of course he was always being his normal disruptive self. Aiden Hutchinson, the playoffs are where stars are born, and to me, this is what has catapulted him into the elite of the elite, with the way he finished the regular season and the way that he's played in the playoffs. And I've said before, I'm curious as to what you think about this, Stick. Moving forward, there is no defensive player I would rather have in the NFL on my team than Aiden. And a lot of that has to do with his upside, but also what he's shown up to this point.
Yeah, I'm with you to the last statement.
Okay,
I mean,
all right.
Listen.
All right.
And that's why I asked you how many are in your tier, too. Like he's top tier? Okay, if there's 7 people in your tier, yes, he's definitely in the top 7. But, I mean, I like a Max Crosby.
That's fine.
I like a Watt. I like a Bosa. And I'm not saying Aiden Hutchinson isn't and can't be one of them, but the stat that I know you're going to love, do you know who the all-time playoff sack leader for the Detroit Lions is?
Mr. Aiden Hutchinson.
With 3.
With 3,
yeah. Tying?
Ziggy Ansah?
Ziggy Ansah,
yeah. Wow.
Yes. So, I mean, say what you want. He's our guy. I love Aiden Hutchinson. I love the motor that he brings. I know the pressures really were pissing some people off, like Spenny this year, like, hey, get the sacks, get the sacks, get the sacks. And he was right about that. Pressures are nice. Sacks are glorious. And I love that. Pause. But either way, Aiden Hutchinson is the motor that keeps this defense going. He's the one guy that you have to constantly game plan around. Outside of that, we don't really have that dude. Right? You're not really scheming about C.D. Deuce. You're not really scheming about Cam Sutton. You're not really – Brian Branch is becoming that guy that you got to watch out for every single play. Like, he had 8 tackles in the first half yesterday. Branch was playing his ass off. But Aiden Hutchinson is that guy that when we go into other teams and they're running film, this is the guy we got to control the entire offense around. And he's still able to be a disruptor. That's when you know you're elite. It's one thing to be the fringe guy making plays like James Houston, love him. But nobody's scheming for James Houston that allows him to get those sacks. Everybody's scheming for Aiden Hutchinson and throwing everything they can at this dude, and he's still performing. An unbelievable motor on this guy. And on top of that, back to the feels part of this too, him being from Dearborn.
Yeah.
You know, he's on the field afterwards, looking around. You know, I love watching those post games, just watching these guys absorb the moment. He understands what this means for the city. He understands what the Detroit Lions were. He's not just some dude coming here like, oh, yeah, I know the Lions suck, but I never really cared about them. He's felt the pain. He's been through the fire. He understands what this all means on a bigger level. And that's what I say. Like, we can talk about all these guys get it because these are the guys Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell keep bringing in. And that's why I love Jared Goff. He's been through a different fire, not the Lions fire, but it's the same thing. And you got guys that are talented. You got guys that are now motivated. And you got guys that care. They give a fuck about the whole city. Yeah. Not just winning a game, but doing this for everybody. And when you're playing with a greater purpose behind you, it elevates you.
Yeah, and Aiden Hutchinson, as most of us all know right now, has never played on a team outside of the state of Michigan. Going back to high school, going back to his time at the University of Michigan, and now going to the Detroit Lions. And I will admit, I do have some pro-Hutchinson bias because he is still my favorite Michigan player of all time. But the fact that he's showing out with the Detroit Lions and playing so well, that speaks a lot. And Mike Bell says this, and I know this is a little bit cliche, but I'm going to add on to that. Hutch's motor is elite. He will not be denied. I love that type of energy, and that's 100% true. That's how he always maintains being so disruptive. But other than that, it's not just his motor. He's also supremely talented. His athleticism, it seems like he's working on some of his pass rush moves, like his spin move with his hands. And it really has come to fruition in the last few games. But I also want to be sure to continue to pound the drum that there was never really a time where he wasn't playing well. Just sometimes the sacks aren't there. I mean, think about it. One of the ones he had in the Los Angeles Rams game was when Matthew Stafford fell on his ass and Hutch was just right there. Sometimes sacks can be random.
Reggie White on Aaron Rodgers. That set the record.
Michael Strahan.
Sorry.
Yes. But like you saw in the Buccaneers game, even when Iffy got that first sack, Aiden Hutchinson was right there with him. You saw in the Rams game how many times Matthew Stafford had to throw before he was ready or he was hurried because Aiden Hutchinson was right there. It's not even just about the sacks. He is one of the most disruptive players in the NFL, and I'm so glad that he is on the Detroit Lions, and he is one of the biggest reasons why I think the Lions might not – I'm not going to call for them to beat San Francisco, but they have a very, very good chance because I think he's one of those that can get to Brock Purdy. And Brock Purdy, I'm not saying that he's a statue or anything like that, but he's shown that when you pressure him, just like every other quarterback, he's not going to be his absolute best. So
he's the least mobile quarterback that we've played in a long time.
Trying to think.
I mean, Stafford's not very mobile, but I think he's more mobile than Brock Purdy. Yeah. Baker Mayfield, not super mobile, but elusive. You saw him avoid some sacks in the backfield yesterday. So, yeah, Brock Purdy is going to be a statue to these guys.
Yes, and Hoof-Hearted puts it perfectly. Hutch is a lot better when the Lions' pass rush isn't just rush one, go get him, Hutch. And for a big part of the season, that's kind of what it felt like. And like I said, Ali McNeil, I'm not going to discount what he did, pressure up the middle, but we all know Aaron Glenn didn't like to blitz. It was an adjustment that I hope he likes to blitz now because the adjustment obviously worked. But when it came to the bookend edge rusher, whether it was Romeo Okwara, whether it was Bruce Irvin, whether it was Julian Okwara, whether it was Josh Paschal, there was nobody there who was really that consistent, and Aiden Hutchinson continued to play well. And now that he's gotten more help, now that he's got more blitzing help, the sack numbers are just eye-popping. I mean, for the last 4 games, he's had 2 a game. If you get 2 sacks a game, every game for your career, you're the best defensive player who ever lived. I'm not saying he's going to do that, but I'm saying that just shows how impressive over a 4-game sample size having 2 sacks a game is. And we're gonna go to break. When we come back, we're gonna talk about the Lions rookies and how they showed out against the Detroit Lions. Hey, kudos to Brad Holmes. But first, Stick, tell us about Big Boy.
Oh, comfort food. You want to feel good? You know, every time you eat at Big Boy, it feels like the Lions are going to the NFC Championship game. It just feels good inside. They got that comfort food, the veal parmigiana, or the new Southern Comfort chicken bowl. You can stop by today and then top it all off with the new gingerbread shake for dessert. Stop by your local Big Boy today.
Savor the heart of home at Big Boy with our all-new down-home comfort dishes. Feast on home-style goodness with our Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl, veal parmigiana, and apple pie hotcakes. The down-home delight doesn't stop there. Potato pancakes are back. Dive into the richness of our perfectly crafted potatoes with our classic potato pancakes and our stuffed potato pancakes. Top off your meal with our new gingerbread shake, a seamless blend of creamy vanilla and sweet gingerbread flavors. Nothing beats the comforting taste of down-home cooking. Enjoy every bite, only at Big Boy.
feel alive during Feldman Chevrolet's biggest New Year's sales event ever. Get the best prices on our huge selection of award-winning Chevrolets. Like this 2024 Equinox for $188 per month. Or this 2024 Silverado for $268 per month. It's the New Year's sales event going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner.
Jack Labrador. We play this game all the time around the Woodward Sports Studios, and you guys got to get in it. Rest in peace to the same old Lions, and thanks to Sheila, Brad, and Dan for putting them to rest. And guess what else has found the grave? The same old paper, rock, scissors. That's right. We're going with Jack Labrador. It's a new game. You got more options. And you know what? Me and Flannel Sam, I think, are the only ones who say paper, rock, scissors. That's right. That's because we're the only ones who get it correct. JackLabrador.gg. Go pick up this game. Have some fun with the boys.
You know the best part, everybody, about Playoff Victory Monday shows, as the time goes on, it feels better and better. It's just, the more we talk about it, the more we dissect it, the more impressive that win looks, and the more impressive this playoff run has looked. And I got to address something Eric Wilson said in the chat. Did Flannel apologize yet for his room temp CJ GJ take yet? I don't know if I said sorry, but I definitely said that I was wrong because, as I said, I didn't.
See, easy, that's what a man does.
I didn't love all of the talking before the week, especially because I didn't want it to motivate Baker or anything like that, because I know how he has that kind of chip on his shoulder attitude. But at the end of the day, the Lions won. C.J. Gardner-Johnson got an interception, and today is the day to just give every single Detroit Lion their praise, even the ones that may not have had their best games, like a Cam Sutton, for example. It doesn't matter, because whatever they're doing, and they've been doing that same strategy when it comes defensively for the last however many weeks now, it seems like since the Denver Broncos game, at least with the blitzing, it works. Yep. Because they just keep winning, because that's all they do. And one of the other reasons why the Lions keep winning and why they've been winning all year is the play of the rookies. Brad Holmes, you are ridiculous. You are a wizard. When you look at the game, when you look at the box score, you will see some players who I would say are prominent in it. Mr. Jahmyr Gibbs, Mr. Sam Laporta, and Mr. Brian Branch. Stick, should Brad Holmes be the governor of Michigan now or in a week?
They should be the president of the United States.
There we go.
Like, forget governor. I want this guy running everything in my life. Now, we could use a new governor, too, though.
That's facts.
We'll get into that another time. No, but this is part of the reason, and not to bring everything back to Jared Goff, but this is the part of the reason why you can pay a Jared Goff and not have to worry about that, if you pay a quarterback too much, you're not going to have the talent. Because look at the talent that keeps coming through the draft. Look at these rookie contracts that are going to play out for the next 3 to 4 to 5 years, and it's all due to Brad Holmes. I mean, to have a guy like Jahmyr Gibbs contribute in a way he did yesterday is absolutely amazing. And then Brian Branch, like I said, he led the team in tackles in the first half, had a sack, and then you get Laporta playing injured, dog, and he keeps going out there, dog, doing what he has to do. He's the guy. Once again, they're built the right way, because you can't coach that with Sam Laporta, right? And Ragnow's the same way. I know he's not a rookie, but we can talk about his toughness too. That's stuff you can't coach. If a guy isn't motivated to get out there and be great, you can't do that. And Sam Laporta passes that test now. And then, you left one guy off there, Jack Campbell.
Yeah.
He didn't get a ton of run yesterday, but he has evolved over this season. And Derek Barnes, after the game when he got the game ball, hey, guys, thanks for sticking with me. Dan Campbell called him a late bloomer. That may be the case in Jack Campbell, so I'm not even going to give up on him, because Iffy is another one. You go back to the draft class with Penei Sewell and Amon-Ra St. Brown and Iffy. You go back to those classes, a lot of those guys are starting to develop and become better players now too. So it's not just the immediate of the draft picks that we're getting. Luckily, we got 3 spark plugs this year that you just plug and play, let's go, let's ride. But it's not always that. It's about the guys that you're developing along the way, too. And I don't know. I can't speak highly enough about it, and I've never seen it before. Have you ever seen a rookie-led team move to the NFC Championship like this?
I mean, I can't think of one, and it's not even. I know this segment is about the rookies, but it's not even just about the rookies. It's all the Brad Holmes draft picks. Yes. They are the engine of this team. I know there's some guys that Jared Goff and David Montgomery who aren't Brad Holmes draft picks, but they're Brad Holmes signings, but that's all of the great players.
It's all coming together, right?
Yes.
And he's bringing in the right guys.
Yeah.
And then he's drafting the perfect guys.
Yes.
And it's all about a culture. It's all about a fit. It's all about how they interview you. And I forget who it was. I was watching an interview earlier in the week. I don't even think he's a Lion, but he said he came and worked out for the Lions. And what they put him through in 20 minutes of a workout, it revealed if you were going to quit. It revealed your tenacity. It revealed everything about you as a player in 20 minutes because they exhausted you. It wasn't just, hey, let's go do a drill. All right, drink some water, put your shorts on. We're going to go do this drill. It was bang, 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 bang to the point of exhaustion to see who was going to push themselves, who was going to get there. And in the combine and in their workouts, this is what they're doing to these guys. And the guys that drop their shoulders, take a deep breath, have a little attitude about them, don't finish the drills, they're not even a part of the consideration. The guys that go through it, snot dripping down their face, running through the tackles, those are the guys that make the list now.
And you know what? The results speak for themselves. If that's how they want to, if that's the type of workout that they need to put potential prospects through, I mean, whatever they're doing is working because it seems like they hit on multiple draft picks that contribute right away and are still contributing and getting better. Kenji, how do you feel about the rookies and Brad Holmes and how they've been contributing to this team, including yesterday?
Man, I just want to give a shout out to the coaching staff, man. I think they deserve big praise because one thing that we have struggled with in years upon years is player development. And we have never had a Lions team where rookies have literally carried our season. Like, it's absolutely crazy. This coaching staff, player-led coaching staff, deserves a lot of credit. They are getting these guys together. They're putting them in the right spots. And just with Brad Holmes, going back to him, man, it's not only is his player finding ability, like, top tier, but his best quality to me is his fearlessness. I've said it before, like, the fact that he stands on business. He's not afraid to make the pick. He knows how to go find his guy. And, a lot of us, we question some of the picks. Jahmyr Gibbs, a high running back pick. It was all that talk made about positional value and things of that nature, but he shattered all of that.
It's a different draft for Brad Holmes.
Absolutely.
Everybody's looking at all the players. Brad Holmes is just looking at his players.
Exactly. And, he's broke the second-round rookie curse with the Laporta pick, man. The Jahmyr Gibbs pick, going back, even the J-Mo pick. You see J-Mo starting to contribute now. It's absolutely amazing that we have this core of young talent on rookie deals that looks like we are going to have a run, not just of this year, but for years to come. And, man, I'm just so proud of the front office, Brad Holmes, and the rookies, man. They all putting in work.
Well, and to what you said earlier about rookie-led teams, that was very well said, KG. Jahmyr Gibbs led the team in rushing yesterday. Sam Laporta led the team in receptions. And Brian Branch was tied for the team lead in tackles and had the team lead in tackles for loss, all while having a sack. That's absolutely unbelievable. And when you look at Jahmyr Gibbs, he had a 37-yard touchdown run. That was one of the biggest plays of the game, and it was just amazing to watch. You saw his speed, and you saw the way he kind of stiff-armed Antoine Winfield Jr. to the ground when he didn't even have to.
He didn't stiff-arm him. He took this hand
and just kind of
put it on his helmet and threw that dude to the ground and then stood over him.
That's one of the best safeties in the game. That's the one guy on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense.
That into my veins.
Hey, and that's what you've seen all year from these guys. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, I had some, I don't want to say reservations, but when he was picked, like a lot of people, and I'll admit I was wrong, but what really
showed, I was right.
Hey, that's all well and good. That is, congratulations.
Go back to draft night.
It looked crazy at the time, but it worked.
Go back to draft night, and Anson has the best video when they drafted Jahmyr Gibbs. It's like Braylon throwing down his headphones, like Neil walking off, like everybody's just like, and there's just me going, yes, yes.
Hey.
And it's not that I know things. It's that I trust Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes. Like, they're smarter than us, boys, we're not used to that. And this is something that I had to preach during the postgame show a lot this year, was we're not used to seeing what winning looks like. We're new money Lions fans. And a lot of the new money Lions fans, they get a little overzealous. They want more, they want more, they want more. But it's always, listen, we have people in place now that we trust. Like this whole pay Jared Goff thing, don't pay Jared Goff, Hendon Hooker's the future thing. I love Jared Goff. But if Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell decide to go the Hendon Hooker route, I'm riding with them because until they prove to me that they can't make the right decisions, they have all of my trust. If you say Hendon Hooker's the guy, I believe it. That is gospel to me if it comes out of Brad Holmes' mouth.
Well, and that's the type of trust that Brad Holmes has earned with his phenomenal back-to-back draft classes. And Burns says in the chat, this is going about Jahmyr Gibbs. Sam, you were throwing a bit of slander at Gibbs until the Raiders game, and just like I've done a lot of the game, I'm going to have to start singing like Sorry 2004 by Ruben Studdard or something like that. Because
what a mention.
I know, Ruben Studdard.
Where the hell did you pull that from?
I don't know. I was just trying to think of apology type songs. That was the first one that came to mind. But yes, I 100% did. But I also said after the Raiders game, and I'm not saying it makes up for everything, but after the Raiders game is really when I was 100% on board with Jahmyr Gibbs, because that was the one game where David Montgomery was out. It was the only game this year he carried the ball more than 20 times, and he gave you 160-plus yards.
But there's another example of trusting the coaching staff to bring this guy along the proper way, right? They didn't just throw him out there game one, hey, he's our lead back. It's no. And then you saw him yesterday pick up that blitz. That blitz pickup when the linebacker, the whole middle of the line open, linebackers just coming down 6 feet of space, and Jahmyr Gibbs plants a shoulder right in his stomach and pushes him backward. Like, that's what good coaching does. They don't put these guys in positions just because he's a high draft pick. Doesn't mean I'm going to shove him in the wrong spot and diminish his confidence. Make him feel like he doesn't understand the offense. Make him feel like the game's a little too much for him right now. They bring these guys along such a good manner. It's so impressive. All of this is just so impressive. What the Lions did yesterday was so impressive. What they've done all season, what they do in the draft, what the fans did all season inside. Like, all of this is a dream come true that I never, ever in my life thought would happen.
Yeah.
Ever. Ever.
It still seems surreal, but it's weird. It's surreal, but at the same time, it feels normal in a way because we're all fairly confident, and we've been confident.
That's what's so weird about it. And I was texting Adam, actually, 2 weeks ago before the first playoff game, and I was like, man, I just feel calm for some reason. Normally I'm, like going crazy, but I'm just like, I feel like these guys just got it. Like, I'm not worried about Matthew Stafford. That was a dragon we had to slay right now. Like that, it couldn't have worked out better to put Stafford in his effing grave. I love that moment for this whole franchise because we can move on from the past altogether. What you thought was good isn't good enough. What you thought was the best is no longer the best. But you want the best, come see Mark Murray right here at Feldman Chevy. That's the best right there.
Hey, did you just make
I thought he was sliding me something cool like, hey, and it says come see me. I was like, oh, this is a weird note. But then he's trying to sell cars.
Everybody should go to Feldman Chevrolet. I mean, I think Broder got a car here. I certainly did. I mean, Feldman basically saved me out of a big-time jam. Shout out to Feldman, and shout out to Jahmyr Gibbs, and shout out to the chat because Chuck Brewer says, and this is him kind of, psychologically analyzing me, which is fair. Sam, you are fast to dump on players, but you do walk it back when you're wrong. You know what, Chuck? Maybe that is a character flaw of mine. I have had a tendency to do that, which is why I have to walk a lot of stuff back.
It's tough, right? Yeah. We're in a position where we have to come up with content and have opinions every day, right? Yeah. So you're going to be asked about every single player. You're not going to get every single player right. Now, your track record is probably 50-50. You don't want it to be that. Yeah. But it's tough when we're up here and our opinions are documented. And, I'm just lucky to be batting 900.
Yeah, 900. I'm sure you are. And Wyatt Bayer, actually, he brings up a great point. A much better choice for the apology song would have been Sorry by Justin Bieber. I actually like that one. I don't know why the F I landed on Ruben Studdard, but that's all well and good.
The fact that that's in your chronological brain is killing me right now. Like Sam listening to Ruben Studdard at home, just bumping it.
Where's Ruben Studdard been at?
He's been gone since American Idol, pretty much, or that song. But the bottom line is that I have gotten some players wrong. I certainly, probably over.
That's okay, Sam.
Yes.
That's what we're here for.
Yes. I probably over-slandered Jahmyr Gibbs at times, and also it's not even just Jahmyr Gibbs. I got to give a shout out to Sam Laporta. He had a couple of big catches on that first Lions touchdown drive, a couple big 15-yarders, and obviously Sam Laporta has arguably had the greatest rookie tight end season of all time. And of course, Brian Branch, he's been, in my opinion, he's been the most consistent defensive back that the Lions have had from start to finish, with his ability to cover out of the slot, making big plays, interceptions, starting with a pick six against Kansas City. And he actually, to me, he has a case for Defensive Rookie of the Year. I don't know if he's going to win it, but he's going to be a star in this league for many, many years to come. Coming up next, I'm going to go around the room. We're going to talk about our favorite play from that game. I thought that was a very interesting topic. But first, I have to tell you about Swiss Insurance. Do you have football on the brain? Of course you do. If you don't at this point, and you're living in the state of Michigan, you are living under a rock. But with all of the great football we've seen from Michigan, University of Michigan, and the Detroit Lions, it is now the perfect time to shop your home and auto insurance. Why not? Shop it like a pro with Swiss Insurance. They cover Woodward Sports Network, and they should be covering you too. Ask for Market Swiss Insurance today at swissins.com or call 248-800-4177. Again, that is 248-800-4177, Swiss Insurance.
At Planet Fitness, you can get energy without the judgment.
Hi, can you help me with this?
You don't know how to use it?
This is better.
Join now through January 19th for just 24 cents down, $10 a month. Never intimidating, always free fitness training and equipment for every workout. Join today during the Big Fitness Energy Sale for 24 cents down, $10 a month. Cancel anytime. Deal extended through January 19th.
Over 50 Metro Detroit locations.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Feel alive during Feldman Chevrolet's biggest New Year's sales event ever. Get the best prices on our huge selection of award-winning Chevrolets. Like this 2024 Equinox for $188 per month. Or this 2024 Silverado for $268 per month. It's the New Year's sales event going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Are you tired of the same Detroit sports merch? Maybe you got that, pit-stained NFC Central 1993 shirt. You want to swap it out for something fresh and clean? Then you should go to Woodward Sports and check out the latest gear. We got hoodies, tees, hats, everything that you could ever ask for in sports gear, man. Get the latest designs today at woodwardsports.com and click shop.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show, live on the Woodward Sports Network from Feldman Chevrolet. Lions playoff divisional round victory Monday. It is a great day, and it keeps getting better as time goes on. And Mike G says in the chat, can Flannel reference Justin Guarini next? I deserve that one. That's all well and good. He was robbed of American Idol by Kelly Clarkson. Obviously, no, he wasn't.
Is that light-skinned dude with the curly hair?
Yeah.
Jesus.
That's you're taking me back.
Talk about, along with Ruben Studdard, did absolutely nothing after their American Idol runner-up. Well, Ruben actually won it.
It's taken a turn.
Yeah, it certainly has taken a turn. But you know what? Let's get it back on the rails because we're all going to be happy on this one. I'm going to go around the room. Stick, what was your favorite play from yesterday's divisional round win over the Buccaneers?
I mean, Jack Fox. No, I'm joking.
Hey, I'm not even mad at that.
I thought I saw too much of Jack Fox yesterday, but outside of that, that guy's a legend. I love that throw to Amon-Ra St. Brown for the touchdown to go up 2 scores. Like, that just was, to me, being the Jared Goff guy, he drove the team down the field when they needed another score to put them away, to get the game out of reach, to make sure that we were all comfortable. But that throw, just on time, perfect, right call, right dude. It was everything that this offense has built up to all season long. And just because of the route design, too. You know, Amon-Ra going on his wheel route with the in over here to pull the defender in, and him just beating his man and the ball being right here in the corner of the end zone. It was magical. Honestly, it was magical. And at that point, Spenny turned to me, and I was like, dude, he's throwing dots. He's throwing dots. What do you want? What do you want?
It sealed the game, too, because in the fourth quarter when you can go up 2 scores, especially 2 touchdowns, that calms everybody down, I would say. And I get it. Obviously, the Buccaneers went down and scored at that point, but they were 2 scores down, and they decided to go for 2, which took some of the pressure off. But that was really when I think a lot of us exhaled a little bit, that Jared Goff to Amon-Ra throw in the corner of the end zone. KG, what was your favorite play from yesterday's game?
I mean, it's hard not to say the Derek Barnes interception to seal it, man. That was just absolutely epic, his first one of his career. But if I got to be different, it's the C.J. Gardner-Johnson interception.
Talk for it.
And then throwing the ball to Baker Mayfield on the sideline, absolute gold. He had been chirping all week, but he came through. He delivered. Big players make big plays. And just outside of that, you know, the Lions came out. They got that 3-and-out, a little bit deflating, you know. But that, to me, that interception set the tone for the game, and it also let me know that the Lions had control of this thing, you know.
Especially after going 3-and-out on offense. Taking the ball and then kind of shitting the bed on your first possession. That was huge.
Yeah, it got the crowd back into the game immediately.
Yes.
And it was just exactly what this defense needed to show them, hey, we got this. You know, let Baker do what he wants, but ultimately we're going to finish this thing off, and they did that. So. Well,
Jeff Iafredi is going to roast me hard when he gets back, because we went to war over C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and I lost. I'll admit it, I lost. I probably look a little bit foolish now. People would say it's not probably, you do, but that's fine. I gave him my
But
flowers.
Sam, what I love about you is you're a man. You're sitting up here and saying, you know what, I was wrong. I was wrong, and that's good. That's fine. You can be wrong. It's okay. It's okay to be wrong. It's not okay to deny it when you are.
Yeah, I can't deny reality or anything like that. I mean, speaking of interceptions, you took the CJ-GJ one, and I'm going to go with the Derek Barnes one. I'm not going to be different. I'm going to be conventional, because it was the best of both worlds. As I've said, this win, obviously, last week's win, vanquishing Matthew Stafford, huge for everybody. But for me, I hate Baker Mayfield. And I was sitting right next to Maz. And Maz, he was getting a little, as I said earlier, a little victory lappy at some points. Oh, Baker Mayfield.
He looks so cool.
He looks so cool. And then
look how poised he
was. He literally said right before that play, oh, God, look at him. He looks so cool.
That's exactly what he said. He was like, it was his son or something out there. Like, I'm so proud of my boy Baker. Then
he was lusting for Baker Mayfield at that point.
And what does Baker Mayfield do? And that's the thing. It wasn't a tip pass or anything like that. What was he thinking? It was 1st and 10.
Jordan loved it.
He would have been better off running backwards 5 yards and falling down. I'm not advising doing that, but at least there would have been somewhat of a chance. Instead, he just threw it right to Derek Barnes.
He ended the game. I love this by David Witt, that Brock Wright play. Brock Wright play. That was the same exact play they ran and won against the Jets. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
A couple years ago, that was the same exact play, and it worked again. And, Brock Wright, rest in peace. He's not going to be able to play from here on out, but big play for him.
Well, the funny thing about Brock Wright, too, is I'm giving him his credit. He doesn't look necessarily super fast or super athletic when he's running. He kind of runs like a tight end, but in the game against the Jets, he got to the end zone really, really fast. In this game against the Buccaneers, he juked a Tampa Bay Buccaneer defender out of his shoes. It wasn't the most pretty-looking thing, but he did it. He probably got it 15 extra yards.
A slow-motion juke, and it worked. It's like, I'm going over here. And the guy just bailed.
It was a huge, huge play in the game, and you love to see history repeat itself, because I saw it all over the chat in the watch party. I've seen people reference it. It was just like that Jets play, and he was just as wide open. Nobody was near him.
But another big play, Aiden Hutchinson's sack. I mean, the Lions, they were kind of reeling at that point.
Yeah,
they needed the defense to make a play. They were in field goal range potentially, and that saved 3 points and them going ahead.
Yeah.
The Buccaneers never led in this game because of that sack. So that was a big moment too. There's so many things you can point to. It's unbelievable. And all the extra yards, the effort yards is what I think back of on this game, because like I said, in the third and fourth quarter, there were several times I'm like, oh man, they're going to be short. And the next thing you know, this little push came and they're 1 yard down the field.
Oh yeah.
Amon-Ra gets the first down. Running backs getting pushed just a little bit more, getting the first down. Just that extra effort came and showed out yesterday.
It's so many players, especially when it comes to Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think Amon-Ra St. Brown and David Montgomery are the best examples of that. They're always falling forward. They're always looking to get extra yards. And it's it's underratedly important how often a 2-yard run can turn into a 4-yard run, where instead of 3rd and 4, it's 3rd and 2, and it seems like that happens a lot. I remember there was one play to Amon-Ra. I can't remember exactly when it was in the game where it was a 3rd and long, and they stopped him short, but he was pushed forward to get a first down. It would have been a 4th and 1, and they probably would have gone for it, but still, it was just the effort. That's
effort.
And as cliche as it sounds,
grit.
Yeah, right, grit.
All grit.
And I'm not saying this to put the Lions down, but they've never been the most talented team in this year's playoffs. I actually think as years go on, they're probably going to get more talented next year. But it doesn't.
Pistons, baby. They weren't the most talented team, but they were the best team.
Hey, and
right.
if there's some way somehow that these Lions can have the same fate as the 04 Pistons,
God.
That's what it's looking like.
We're in the Final Four, though. We're in the NFC Championship. We can start having discussions like that, and that is one of the best parts. I mean, that's why this is all so sweet. That's why, and I know, Stick, you've been here since the beginning. You had to talk about the Lions in the 2021 season when they were losing every week, and now you get your payoff, and that's got to be pretty cool.
It's been amazing. Honestly, it's been amazing, and, staying positive, and that's why we started Woodward Sports, to be honest with you, because I sat on my couch and I listened to the only radio station in town just dog this team constantly, and I got sick of hearing that shit. And it was like, let's put some positive vibes. Let's think forward. Let's think how we get there instead of where we're at. And that's what Woodward Sports, how we're going to get there. And 3 years in, luckily Dan Campbell came along. We dealt with the Matt Patricia era. We went through COVID when nobody was in the, Corey Woods, his first game ever reporting a game was the Tampa Bay game. And there was nobody in the damn Ford Field, and Tampa Bay beat us by 42 points. He was like, it was the weirdest environment I've ever been to. But to watch this network grow with the team and start to peak at the right times, it's been a lot of fun. And to be the Lions slappy, right? Everybody always I've heard it my whole life about how the Lions suck, and I still believed. Finally, this is when I get to stand on my mountaintop for all the people who shouted down at me for years for believing in this team and be like, now we're here. I believed in them, and I'm happier than anybody else because I stuck it through. And it's special, man. This is a special moment in time, and that we have it all recorded is amazing to me.
Yeah.
And
I love it.
The best part is that I know for many years it was probably an insult to call you a Lion slappy. Now it's like not at all.
To me, it never was. I always owned it, right? You're damn right. Oh, you only think that because you're a Lion slappy. You're damn right. I got faith in my boys. I got faith in my squad. You're damn right. And I understand the warts. I hated Matt Patricia, and I would acknowledge that he wasn't the guy. I loved Jim Caldwell, and I caught a lot of shit for loving Jim Caldwell and saying he was the best coach in Lions history till Dan Campbell. Now it goes Dan Campbell, Jim Caldwell in my view.
Hey, at this point, how can you argue with that? And you know what else you can't argue with when you need a workout? Planet Fitness.
Yeah, you into fitness? Go to Planet Fitness. They got them all over the place. Probably you drove by one this morning, whether you went somewhere or not. Literally everywhere I go, I see a Planet Fitness, the big purple and yellow signs, and it's only $10 a month. You go in there. I think the New Year's resolution crowd has kind of died out by now, so it's going to be a little nicer when you go to the gym. Gyms were packed those first 3 weeks, but it's so wild, the New Year's resolution people. But get back in the gym. Get your workout in. It's been too cold. You're not getting the sunshine. You got to get into Planet Fitness. Make yourself feel good about yourself.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. Show. Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show, live on the Woodward Sports Network. I am Flannel Sam. I got Sam Stick Day filling in for Jeff Iafrady. Shout out Jeff Iafrady. Hope to get you back soon. We got JB Smoove in the house. We've got Ken G, as you've heard from a few times today. Good to have you guys both here as well. And before we go to mailbag in our next segment, because this has been a very Lions-centric show, as it should be 100%. But right now there are 4 teams left in the NFL playoffs, and I just want to ask briefly, you Stick, you Ken G, I'll give an answer myself. Did anything stand out to you from around the NFL this weekend?
The Ravens are fucking good.
There we go.
That is a good ball club, and no shame in how they abused us at home. I mean, that is a good ball club, and I'd love to get some retribution in the Super Bowl. Everybody else looks beatable.
Yeah,
seriously.
I mean, even the San Francisco 49ers. I mean, the
beatable.
the
Chiefs,
Chiefs,
beatable.
yes. Kenji, what about you? What stood out to you?
That leads right into my point. The 49ers are very vulnerable. I said it before this game. I'm not scared of the 49ers. I feel like we match up well with them in a lot of ways. The only advantage they really got on us is the defense. But, anything can happen at this point. We are in the mix now officially, and any given Sunday, man, you never know what might happen in the playoffs. But I'm confident with the Lions team we have going forward, and let's just leave it on the field, man. Let's see what it's going to be. But Jared Goff in San Francisco, he's going to be playing in front of family. I'm looking forward to it, man. Let's get this game going.
It's so poetic, him winding up in California for this game.
Of course.
And obviously, I think we all took something out of the 49ers game because going into the playoffs, you hear that they're by far the best team in the NFC. And on paper, I would say they still are. And I think they earned that standing for how they played this year. They're a damn good team. And you also have to give them credit for not folding. They did come back and win. They did get some stops when they needed to, although I think a couple of those were more Jordan Love bad than San Francisco 49ers good, but still, they got the stops when they needed. They got the wins, but they do look a lot more vulnerable. The Lions fans, I mean, we should obviously we should all respect the 49ers, obviously, because they're at home. They've been the best team in the NFC all year, but there's no reason to think that the Lions can't go in there and win. To the shock of absolutely no one, obviously the Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills game stood out to me for both of those teams because the Buffalo Bills, man, those fans, what they have been through over their time. No wonder they throw themselves through tables. No wonder they sit out in blizzards because they just love to hurt themselves because that's all the Buffalo Bills do come playoff time. It's been this way. They're the franchise that lost 4 consecutive Super Bowls in the early 90s, and now they keep losing in heartbreaking fashion in the playoffs again. They can't slay the dragon. And, I mean, the Kansas City Chiefs are the dragon when it comes to the Buffalo Bills and to most of the rest of the NFL.
You could say that about the San Francisco 49ers, too, though.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times are they going to make it to the NFC Championship game and not get there and not win the Super Bowl? Like, they've been there, 5 out of the last 6 years?
Well, that's
so this is what I want Dan Campbell to use as fuel. Like, listen, as great as everybody thinks the Bills are or were, their window has closed. We all knew, and it came to an end. The Lions have a window right now, and do not take this moment for granted. It could not happen next year. Things could go wrong. Players could get hurt. Other teams get better. This is your moment right now. San Francisco has proven they can get to the NFC Championship game. They've also proven they can't win that game.
Yep.
And it's time for the Detroit Lions to not fall into that category. When you get the opportunity, you have to take advantage of it. You do not want us talking in 4 years about the 3 NFC Championship games we made but couldn't do anything from it. You're playing with house money right now, but this is a small window and an opportunity that none of these guys are ever going to get in their lives again, and that's how they have to treat it. They cannot treat it like we will be back next year. That's not how it works in the NFL. That's why there aren't many repeat Super Bowl champions in the NFL, because that's not how it works. So this is the moment. This is the time. This is the week. San Francisco's in the way of the goal. They must die.
They must. And the thing about the 49ers, and you brought it up, and I think it's very interesting, is they get talked about like there's that they've been some juggernaut for years. But the reality is, and I keep saying this, and I'm going to say it again because I think it's jarring to hear. Or in the good way, in a lot of ways. The Dallas Cowboys have won a Super Bowl more recently than the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
But the San Francisco 49ers are revered as this, dominant team, but they always fall short. And the Lions have an opportunity, and kind of what you alluded to make sure that they fall short again, because they've shown that they can do that. I know it's different teams and all of that, but at the same time.
But that's pressure, man.
That's
when you're
huge
a team
pressure.
that constantly gets to that point but can't get it done, that's weight on your back that the Lions don't have. The Lions are coming in, guns blazing, baby. This is fun. Let's go. Yeah. We don't have our history on our back anymore. We vanquished all that. We don't have anything presiding over us. The only thing we have is what's in front of us. San Francisco has the past 5 years hanging on their back. Man, if we don't get it done this year, how many times are they going to do this? Is Kyle Shanahan that guy? Can he not get them to the big, all those questions start coming, and they become the Bills.
They become the Bills.
Yeah.
We don't have that pressure. They do. Let's remind them of that.
And the Lions, they are to some extent playing with house money, but they're not.
I thought they were last week.
This isn't, but it's not like a. Usually, when I think of house money, I think of a team that is clearly inferior to the the favored team. But the Lions, I don't think so. And
when I say house money, it means mission's already been accomplished for this year.
That's fair.
Everything else is gravy. Everything else is icing. The cake's been baked. It's good. We like it. Now we just got to dial it. Everything else is dialing it up. It's like, hey, I own this car, right? This beautiful Corvette right here at Feldman Chevy. But now I want to put some rims on it. Now I want to do a couple extra things for it. The goal's been accomplished for this year. But now it's, can you think bigger than what your goals were?
Oh, yeah. And on the other hand, the San Francisco 49ers, if they lose, they're – I hate to say it, but I don't hate to say it at all, actually. If the 49ers lose, are you going to start talking about Kyle Shanahan as a little bit of a playoff choker?
You have to.
We're talking that you hear about it when it comes to like Sean McDermott and Josh Allen. Some of that's fair. I don't think it's all fair, but you got to be consistent. But that's if the 49ers lose, if the Lions can go in and win, but I think
take care of business.
There's a very good chance of that. And oh, by the way, because it's what the people want, Patrick Mahomes is still him. The reports of his demise were greatly exaggerated. I'll just say that.
You was right, Sam.
I'll just say that. People were giving them no chance. But it's not, I didn't care that. I obviously didn't care because I was still on the high from the Lions win, but that was they're what the New England Patriots were. They're just a dominant playoff team.
Yeah, he's good, but he's not what he used to be. He's a percentage of him.
But in the playoffs, though, he's not turning the football over. The offense looks like Travis Kelce looks a little re-energized, too, which is huge.
They have a run game.
Listen, I will never slander Patrick Mahomes. Great quarterback, Super Bowl winning quarterback. Yeah. He's done it. He's the guy that we wish we had, right? Yeah. You wish you had a guy with that resume. But when I watched him this year compared to years past, it's a little different. It is. And it could be the drop passes, which is at an uncanny rate, forcing him to kind of – he doesn't – the Rashee Rice is literally the only receiver that they have. But I don't fear him like I used to, I guess.
Yeah, in this year, obviously their offense wasn't quite the same. You saw MVS and Kadarius Toney dropping huge passes that probably would have swung games.
Oh, yeah.
Travis Kelce, he seemed a little checked out at the end of the season. Drops with him.
He's retiring at the end of this year.
But this is the thing. He might just empty the chamber one more time for a third Super Bowl. But you know what? We're going to –
Emptying chambers into Taylor Swift.
Hey, he certainly is. Yeah. That is without a doubt. On that note – time to tell you about Premier Pet. That is a weird transition, but give your pet the best like I give my pet the best. I don't settle when it comes to my
Ruben stuttered.
To my golden retriever Jake and my orange cat Milo. They get everything they could ever want from Premier Pet. And Premier Pet Supply is hands down Michigan's best pet store. Same prices and all the conveniences of the online and big box retailers with one major difference. Family and locally owned and operated for 30 plus years. Over 60 brands of food with nutrition experts to help you. Same day, local, curbside, and home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best. Visit their website at premierpetsupply.com.
Your home is your most important asset. Flexibility in the sales process is key. When you work with Mark White & Associates, you can cancel at any time, for any reason, without penalty. Speaking of flexibility, check this out. Who you work with matters. Hire the best broker in the game.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Feel alive during Feldman Chevrolet's biggest New Year's sales event ever. Get the best prices on our huge selection of award-winning Chevrolets. Like this 2024 Equinox for $188 per month. Or this 2024 Silverado for $268 per month. It's the New Year's sales event going on now at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
Come see Mark Murray at Feldman Chevy of Novi, and you can give him a call right now, too. Actually, shoot him a text. Put this in your phone, 248-912-9109. That's 248-912-9109. There's 2023 vehicles. They're left over, and they must go. The only guy that can get them to you is Mark Murray. Ryan Poulter said so. So come on out. Feldman Chevrolet of Novi. We're live here all day long.
Oh. Shout out Mike Murray. That was a hell of a read, Mr. Sam Six Day. And now we're gonna come back to mailbag. We're obviously Morning Woodward Show live from Feldman Chevrolet in Novi, the place where I got my new car. We got JB Smooth, we've got KG, we've got Ryan Poulter in the house as well. Shout out to him. Yes, and now we got mailbag, and people are not happy that I even had the gall to mention Patrick Mahomes. Eric Allen, 6 starting seasons, 5 actually. This is his 6. We can't call it 6 AFC Championship games and 2 Super Bowl wins. Mahomes is great, but the dick-sucking Sam does on him is a bit unbearable.
Yeah.
But he's arguably one of the best to play the game. But just one thing I will say to that is an AFC Championship game appearance every single year he's played quarterback in 2 Super Bowls, and you're just kind of scoffing it off. It's like,
who cares? Who cares?
All right, fine.
This is on the New York Post today.
Oh.
The back page of the New York Post.
Oh, my apologies. I should have led with that one. Wow. The real America's team. Lovable Lions.
I am a real American. Fight for the right of every man. That's right. That's right. This is America's team.
Well, if
Dallas Cowboys, take a back seat. You know, you haven't been to an NFC Championship game. I believe you and the Commanders now have the longest streak.
Man.
USOL. Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah. SOC. The sock.
Shout out to the New York Post for putting that.
Thank you, Ryan, for that. That's great.
And yes, the Lions are 100% America's team. And Freddie Felt 313 mailbag.
Shout out Freddie.
This was he mentioned something early on. He was talking about how, I don't know, I was talking about easy, not you. I think we were having that whole like victory lap versus like right versus having fun and all that. You and Stick had a great show today.
They're in San Francisco. What's going on over there? They used to be glorious.
Ooh.
They used to be the Bay City. And now not a place I'd want to take my kids. I got to be honest with you. So it's kind of two worlds colliding, what was to what is, and we are what is.
That is so well said, because San Francisco, yikes. I probably,
Yikes.
I'm just saying, I wouldn't even probably want to go there. I'd go to the game, but I would. It's not a destination, whereas back in the day it was one of the, beacon and cultural hubs of America.
It's not what it was in the Full House intro, I'll tell you that much.
That is a great example.
That is not the San Francisco of today.
It's not, the summer of love or Haight-Ashbury or whatever.
Yes.
It's the summer of something. Let me see what else we got.
Summer of crackheads.
Deja, why did we give Reynolds the touchdown? You know what? I don't know, but it worked. At the end of the day, Craig Reynolds can now say, isn't that amazing? Craig Reynolds got a touchdown in that game.
But that's what you see.
Yes.
Like sometimes it's never about the stars, right? It's about those role players who make the big plays in the big moments. It's that play call was phenomenal to me because it, like I said, it fooled me, and I find myself not easily fooled. But I'm like, oh man, they're definitely passing with Craig Reynolds in there.
I just knew it was a pass.
Everybody did, except the men in that huddle.
Yeah.
You know?
Campbell got some big wavos.
Oh, dude.
Oh, yeah.
Big wavos.
Yeah, like, hey, Gibbs, Montgomery, you guys just sit this one out. We're going to send Craig in to fuck with their brains. The brilliance of it is just, it can't be lost on us.
I think every single Lions fan who is with Woodward Sports, probably most of them, because we obviously favor our own team over others, would agree that the Lions have the best running back duo in the NFL. And the man they called on for the touchdown was Craig Reynolds.
Right.
But that's the thing. When you have a great offensive line, because Craig Reynolds wasn't even touched, he just waltzed into the end zone. I'm not saying that anybody can go back there and be Jahmyr Gibbs or David Montgomery, but when you need a yard, Craig Reynolds, you can trust them for it. Yeah. And they did. And the bottom line,
hell of a block the first time they played. Like, that block was amazing.
He's been solid during his Lions tenure, man. We got to give it up. He's been about as good as a third, back, as he can be. So,
yeah.
He's done what he.
A third running back we're talking about.
Right.
Mike G, this is interesting. He's kind of comparing the Lions to Michigan. Craig is like Khalil Mullings. I don't hate it. Khalil Mullings, the RB3 for Michigan.
That's
he made some plays this year. Hey, that's hey, you know me. I'm on cloud 9 right now when it comes to all Michigan sports. Michigan, the Lions.
As you should be.
Yes, absolutely.
As everybody should be. There has never been a greater time for football fans in the state of Michigan, period. Period. Never, ever in the history of this entire state has there been a better time for football fans. Period. We're all living through the best time ever in football in Southeast Michigan and the whole mitten. Yeah. We're living through this, boys. This isn't something like a time we're going to tell our grandkids about. Like, hey, there was a time when Michigan won the national championship and the Lions were in the Super Bowl. Like, what?
Yeah.
Think about that when Brady Hoke was here.
Yeah.
Think about that statement 5 years ago when everybody wanted Jim Harbaugh ousted and we had Matt Patricia. How far we've come, boys. How far we've come.
How far we have come. And I think this is a good way to end this on, because I don't know if he's gotten his proper flowers, at least from me. From Jacob Alm. Ragnow gave up his body for that run. Absolutely. What a god. Frank Ragnow gave up his body for the city of Detroit.
On a knee, he was blocking.
His leg fell on twice in the same game.
Did you see the press conference where they asked him where he got his toughness from?
Oh, yeah.
He's like, my dad's probably one of the toughest people I know, and my mom, probably one of the toughest people I know. Like, this dude's just bred to be a beast. Like, these are the guys in Viking times you want on your squad.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I've been rewatching Game of Thrones, and these are the Dothrakis.
Yes.
Like, these are the beasts.
And I should put some – I got to give him his title first. He's not Frank Ragnow. He is the best center in the NFL, Frank Ragnow.
Yeah.
And even when he's not fully healthy, when he just being out there, being the center, being the guy that touches the ball every play, calling out the protections and everything like that, if you're in there, even if he's not 100%, you'd rather have – he's the guy you want in your foxhole 100%. Speaking of guys I want in my foxhole, Sam Stick Day, it was an absolute pleasure today. JB Smooth, always the GOAT of Woodward Sports. Ken G, man.
How much bail do we need to get Jeff out?
That's a good question, but I will try to come up with some. I'll even tap into my funds for my retirement funds for Jeff Freddy. That's how much I want him back. But if I can't have him, there's nobody I'd rather have with me than Sam Stick Day, and there's nobody I'd rather do a show for than all of you wonderful people in the audience. We may fight sometimes, but we always make up, and thank you always for keeping to stay tuned in. Until tomorrow. Flannel Sam, Sam Stick Day, JB Smooth, Ken G. We will see you all tomorrow. Enjoy the Lions win. Enjoy the rest of the program we've got to offer on Woodward Sports. Big D Energy up next.
Is Lindsey Hunter on next?
He is on next.
Lindsey, man.
Coming for you, Lindsey.
Hey.
You're going to bow too, just like Easy.
And you know what? That's worth tuning in on its own.
Yep.
Till next time, peace.